Matthew, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. We got
Technology is sometimes can really mess us up. I tried to be fancy and, this is just a metaphor for life. Just when we think we got everything worked out, we actually did a rehearsal early this morning. I think at about 7:30. You were good. I was good. And
right.
Boom, we show up and, there's a whole nother plan out there in the universe. And we just got to figure out how to walk through and work through our challenges.
Right. It was an audible.
Our best plans go awry. And so, Matthew, what I'd like to do is, since they couldn't, our audience, and thank you so much for the listeners that hung in there while I worked through my opportunity here to fix up my audio. What I'd like to do is, while Matthew is getting to his final destination, which is going to be exciting because where he's going is actually a grand piano, and he's gonna sing his newest release. But before we go there, I'm gonna put on an audio, a video of a show that he did, and we're gonna let that one. We'll make sure that we got some audio on that. We're gonna put it on right now. See what we got.
It's gonna work. It's gonna work this time.
I like long introductions. Oh, he get a solo. That's here we go. I used to spend my nights out at the bar room. Liquor was the only love that I known. But you say you reached me before I hit the bottom, and you pulled me back from being too far gone. But he said, you're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. And honey, I stay stoned on your love all the time. See, I look for love in all the same old places. Oh, no. The bottom of the bottles, yeah, they were always dry. But when you pull your heart out, girl, I never waste it. 'Cause your love is the only thing that gets me high. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. Honey, I stay stoned on your love all the time. Come on, Julian, give me a little bit. Oh, do. No. I don't know if I can do that one, but that was good. We're gonna do this one more time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. I stay stoned on your love all the time. We gotta do a turnaround. Here's there. And honey, I stay stoned on your love all the time. Yeah, yeah. Honey, I stay stoned on your love.
That's good.
All the time. Thank you so much. Y'all been awesome.
Wow, wow, wow. I tell you, Matthew, it just chills my body. I listen to your songs and it just hits me in a spot that just absolutely, I don't know how to describe it. It just chills my bones. It chills my soul. And I want to welcome you. Welcome to the show, Matthew. I got so much to talk
So let's go. I'm finally sitting at the
So,
piano.
you know, one of the things that struck me this afternoon when I was actually doing some prayer and meditation was I was thinking about, I'm not a singer, and I mean I sing in the privacy of my home. Well, that's not true. I actually sing on my bike ride in the mornings, very loud, but I'm not talented like you are. But here's the thing that's interesting is, you know, when people go for coaching lessons on how to sing, a lot of some singers have a challenge because they seem to sing through their nose. You know, they say you can't sing through your nose; you got to sing from your lungs, right?
Yeah.
You got to learn how to breathe, right?
Right.
But here's the difference. It hit me today. I don't think you sing from your lungs, and I know you definitely don't sing from your nose.
Okay.
You sing, my friend, from your soul.
Yes, sir.
How is that? How do you do that? Because most people, I mean, there are people out there. There's some very great talent out there in the world that do sing from their soul. But how did you get there? Like, was it always this way for you? And maybe we just got to go back in time and start by sharing where it all began, where it was, and where you are.
Well, first, Jay, thank you so much for having me and allowing me to talk to the world through this awesome platform that you have. Is incredible, and I am just honored to be on this with you to talk to all the people that you get to talk to on a regular basis. So I think that's awesome. Well, for me, James Brown said it best because, you know, he's the king of soul. And I think he said it best, says soul music comes from a struggle. And that's really how you have to tap into the struggle and the anguish and the hurt and be able to materialize that in lyrics, materialize that in the notes and not just how you sing the notes. There's people who are technically good singers, but it's how you sing the note, what the note carries. That's what I wanted to say. What the note carries when you sing it. So definitely you have to go back to like when I was a kid. I'm the youngest of 4 boys. My oldest brother's 15 years older than me. So just to paint a picture, there's 2 generations going on in the house. So because I'm the baby, I'm the one that gets in trouble because they assume that my mom loves me more than she loves all of them, right? So if something breaks, Matthew, she's not gonna get you. She's not gonna whoop you as bad as she'll whoop us. So
Wait a minute, Matthew. Now I just figured out why we had this instant connection. Mm-hmm. I'm also the youngest.
Oh, that's why.
And I was always the one, I don't know about you, but I was always blamed for everything that went wrong. My sister never got blamed. I was always guilty. Even when I wasn't guilty, I was guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if my sister, yeah, she probably felt that I got preferential treatment, but I definitely got blamed a lot. But that's what we have in common. We're both the youngest in our family. So
Yeah.
go on with your story. This is all about you tonight. It's not about me.
I'm the baby cousin too. So not only am I the youngest in my immediate family, in my extended family, my cousins on both sides, my mom and my dad's side, I'm the baby cousin too. So we're all like brothers and sisters. So I got 19 first cousins on my mom's side, and I have 3 first cousins on my dad's side. So with them, I'm still the baby. But they're with that. Growing up in Kansas City, I'm born and raised in Kansas City. It was definitely not easy. It was definitely not easy. In the ghetto, my dad was a binge addict, so he was addicted to drugs, but he was a working addict, which was what you didn't know. You don't know what's not normal until you go around people that don't have the same struggles or don't have the same normal as you. So this was normal to me. Life was normal. Sugar sandwiches was normal. Cheese sandwiches and not the good kind of cheese. Those things were normal to me until you realize, like, whoa, kids ain't supposed to kids ain't supposed to be growing up like this. This isn't good. This isn't right. And
When did you start to figure all that out? Because what I heard you say is, I say this quite often is we don't know what we don't know until we know it.
mm-hmm, until we
Like,
know it,
when did
right?
you have that awakening and realize that the way you were being raised was your normal, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
everybody else's normal?
I would have to say, um, after the 3rd grade, I started realizing it because a lot of my friends, and I'll use that term loosely in elementary school friends, a lot of my friends, when you wearing a certain kind of shoes, because especially in like urban schools, materialism, and it could be the same in like suburban schools. I don't know because I only went to urban schools, but I know in urban schools what you wear at school, the shoes you have on, the coat that you rock, all of those things play a part in your economic status. Or so everybody had Jordans on, so I thought I had Jordans on, but they were imitation Jordans. I thought everybody's lights got cut off. I thought that everybody just goes through that struggle, but no, that was our struggle.
Mm.
And you get, because you don't have what everybody else has, you realize, like, wait a minute, am I poor? Am I broke? And it wasn't that my mom didn't work hard, because my mom, I mean, I wouldn't be here without my mom. My mom, I love my mom is incredible, and everything we had, and I didn't appreciate it at the time because it wasn't what everybody else had, and that's when I realized, like, man, we struggling here, and that was the realization that my normal was very different from everybody else's normal. At least what they showed. You never know what's going on behind the door, closed doors, though.
So your mom is still alive?
Yes, my mom and my dad, both my parents.
Okay. Do you have a relationship with your dad today?
We have a relationship. It's an interesting relationship. My dad, growing up, since I was a baby, I had to be with my mom a lot. So I had to go to some of those spots where he was at, and it wasn't always the best, the best places, and I had to go to. Um, so I seen a lot. I seen the hurt on his face. I seen those things, and it wasn't until recently that I realized that it wasn't because my dad didn't love me or my dad wanted to hurt the family or anything like that he was there. I thought his addiction and his problem and his situation was like, well, why wouldn't you just put that away, because you have kids, you got people that are counting on you. And it wasn't that. Um, the reality was that if he could have put it away and just stopped it, he would have, because he was a great dad. He was just lousy parent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But he was great.
I wanna I want to thank you and acknowledge you for sharing your truth right here, right now. You know, I love you, and I loved you the day I met you. I fell in love with you. I truly did, and I didn't know why. I thought it was the music.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a story. We all have a story to tell, and I truly appreciate your willingness to be vulnerable in this moment.
Yeah.
And share, how it was for you, and the fact that you were able to understand that your dad was doing what he was doing, not because he didn't love you, but just because he was not well. And
Yeah.
that when we're able to reach that space in our relationship with our loved ones, whether it be a parent, whether it be a sibling, whether it be a partner, a child, it really releases us from the bondage of the disease. We can just love them right where they're at, whether they're sober or not. And
For sure.
thank you for sharing that, Matthew. I want to ask you. I want to move this along here because we could just stay in this topic, this conversation for the rest of the show. And it's just, you already got me teary-eyed, and my job is to get you teary-eyed. So we'll get you there somehow, some way.
Yeah.
But in this moment, how did you go from that childhood to, my understanding, you got somehow along the way, you got inspired, and you went to school, you went to university to become an ordained pastor. And then you actually followed through on that, and you became a pastor. And share maybe a little bit about that part of your story.
Okay, so my journey, that with everything that was going on in my household, I became I came to faith. We were like CEO Christians. We went to church Christmas and Easter only. So we were very important Christians, right? And but when I came into faith when I was about 10 or 11, and it really sunk in about 14, I think, really sunk in. I knew that I just dove into doing what I did as a Christian, as a believer, just studying my word and all those things. And I realized that there was something. I used to teach Sunday school, vacation Bible school at a young age. I was a teacher in church because I had a grasp on the scriptures. So I knew that I was like, I'm supposed to go to Bible college. I just knew. But I wanted to go to culinary arts school. That's where I really wanted to go. It's kind of a glare here. Maybe I should, Ron, I think I may have to. I'm gonna close the blind behind me so it won't be a glare.
You go ahead and do that. After the challenges we had 12 minutes in on the show with audio, flipping your blinds is cake. That's cakewalk, especially after the stuff you've gone through. I mean, you can do that one with your eyes closed.
That was my father-in-law's hand. He made your world premiere. But I knew that, so I wanted to be a chef, and everything that I got the scholarships, I was ready to go, and ended up at the last minute feeling like, no, I'm supposed to go to Bible college. So we packed up, and I went to Bible college in Ohio.
Wait a minute. Just hold on a minute. What happened to you? Your dream was to be a culinary chef, but yet something pulled you to Bible school. What was it? Was it your thinking, or was it something inside, or was it this awakening? Was it an epiphany? What did that look like?
For me, it was more or less, it was a feeling. Like I knew in my heart that there was, I don't know if it was Bible college that I needed to go to because I needed to learn, or if it was Bible college because I needed to meet someone. And I figured it out now. But at the moment I was like, I don't know. I just really know I'm supposed to go, but I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. That was the thing. Because at the culinary arts school, I was going to get a scholarship. I was going to get financial assistance. It was going to be great. But at the Bible college, it was a private college, and there wasn't any financial aid. So I was like, oh, how am I going to pay for it? So, but we got some monies together for the first semester, and I went on out, and that's how the reason I really know, and I kind of rushing the story, but when I got to Bible college, and I'm in there and going great. I get a letter on my dorm, and they're telling me, listen, you need to pay. It's like the next semester, and they said, Matthew, you need to pay your college, or you got to go home. And I'm like, well, I don't have it in my bank account, so I don't know what we're going to do. And I didn't find this out until my grandma passed, that my grandma had paid for my college the rest of the way.
Wow.
She didn't do that for any of my other cousins. At least I don't know. But my grandma
Wow.
had, I guess she heard, and she paid for my college. And I was like, I didn't know Granny was sitting on that kind of money. Wait a minute. But she believed it. My
He was
grandma.
saving it for the right reason, and you
Yeah.
were the reason.
My grandma believed in me. She really was. I was really dear to her heart. We used to go to church. I used to go to church with her. She was a secretary at our church, and so I would go and play the piano and the organ while she was doing her secretary things.
So you made it through 4 years, or however long was it? A 4-year program?
It was a 2-year program. I
Okay.
made it through there. It was in Ohio, and the craziest thing, I was washing my floor in my apartment. And I just heard this thought that if about going to Pittsburgh, the thought was, if I was to make a way for you to go to Pittsburgh, would you go? That was a question that came to my mind. And I was like, I'd go anywhere, God. Wherever you send me, I'll go, right? Well, I went to a church at the time in Ohio that had 10,000 people. And I kept seeing this one man, all constantly kept seeing this man. And so I walked up to the guy because I was like, I feel like I'm just connected with this guy. I don't know why. So I kept seeing him. I walked up to him and I said, I really feel like I'm supposed to do something with you. And he tells me, he says, well, I pastor a church in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I said, oh man. And he's like, and I'm actually looking for a youth pastor or interim, I'm looking for a youth pastor and associate pastor and all that stuff. And I was like, wow, well, I think I'm your guy. So I graduated college and moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Wow. Wow. So that's it. That's just amazing how that fell into place.
Mm-hmm.
And before we move on, because I want to hear a little bit about what it was like being a pastor and how you went from that to where you are today. But before you go there, I want to just invite you to just share a little bit about you have a song, a new release that you just put out there, I think end of spring, early summer. If you could share with us what the name of the song is and why you wrote that song and what that song means to you today. And then maybe, just maybe, you'll play it for us.
Sure. So I wrote King for a Day. So you want me to talk about the song before I talk about the rest of it? Okay.
Yeah.
So
I want to break it up a little bit.
Okay. So I wrote King for a Day. Before I moved to Los Angeles, I lived out here in Manteca, California. And I think me and my wife we were in Half Moon Bay. And I believe I saw a sign that said, this is the true story why I wrote the song. The sign said there was a fine if you harmed this endangered species or this endangered fish or tree or something like that. And I was like, wow, like this is a $250,000 fine for fishing in this pond or cutting this tree down or whatever. But we can be such nasty human beings to each other, and there's no fine, there's no law against that. And I started looking at the streets, and I started looking in Stockton and looking how just Kansas City and just all of the places that I've ever lived and thinking, man, we got to do better. We got to do better. And so I wrote the song King for a Day because looking at the climate of the world, it's not a political song. I wrote the song way before, some people put it as a Trump song or this song. I wrote the song way before Trump was ever president. This song has nothing to do with politics as much as it puts the responsibility on us as individuals. My favorite part of the song is we got to do better to make this world better. It's our responsibility to make the world better. No politician, no prime minister, none of those people. They are in it for whatever they're in it for. It's our job to be decent human beings. So King for a Day came and says, if you had all the resources in the world for one day, or to change the world for a better place, what would you do? And so I answer what I would do. And so the question is for everybody. Like, I do a King for a Day challenge, and I challenge everybody. What would you do if you're king for a day and you had all the resources in the world?
Now, before you go there, to be a real king, don't you need to have a queen?
Yeah, you sure do.
You do have a queen.
I do.
I've met your beautiful queen. Matthew and I met actually. We went to an Airbnb experience, a music experience, and the first time we met, I believe it was in a Himalayan pink salt room. It was a very intimate show. You were one of the artists that were playing that evening. It was at a location in Beverly Hills. I think the capacity of that room is 12.
Yeah.
And we were flawed. I was absolutely flawed. We literally are sitting in a room. There's nothing but pink salt, crushed salt on the floor. We're sitting in it. We are waiting for you to sing. And then there's two other artists there. And there you are as part of Flight of Voices. And you open your mouth and your soul spoke, your energy, you just lit up the room. And the light hasn't gone out for me ever since then. And with that introduction, I'd love to hear you sing it live. King for a Day, Matthew O'Grant.
Okay, let's see what happens. You still hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I just took my headphones off. All right, here we go. Wars and rumors of wars. We're filled with so much hatred and we don't know what for. We do what we think's right and we shed innocent blood. We segregate our lives, whatever happened to love. If I was a king for a day, I would take all this hurt away and restore our faith in each other again. I'd make a decree there wouldn't poverty, giving back what was lost. I'll change this world at any cost. If I was a king, mindless choices have the loudest voice. We save the birds and trees, but for ourselves we leave no choice. Corrupted politicians making laws for the land. They keep us on the ground and we don't understand. If I was a king for a day, I would take all this hurt away and restore our faith in each other again. I'd make a decree that wouldn't poverty, giving back what was lost. I'll change this world at any cost. If I was a king for a day, I would take all this hurt away and restore our faith in each other again. I'd make a decree that wouldn't poverty, giving back what was lost. Change the world at any cost. If I was king, we got to do better to make this world better. We gotta do better, oh, to make this world better. If I was a king for a day, I would take all this hurt away
Wow. Thank you, Matthew. That was just beautiful. The first time I heard the song, I was blown away. I heard the recording, the studio version of it. And the first time I heard it, it was like, that's not Matthew. It sounds so different in a recording studio. And then you released the acoustic version, and that's the Matthew that I'm used to hearing. But both versions are just absolutely beautiful. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And wow,
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Acknowledge some of our community that have joined the live show tonight, and thank them for being part and participating. If you are enjoying the show, if you like the show, hit like, hit love, continue to share your comments. I have not been ignoring you. I've been reading some of them in between, but for the most part, I've been so present for this interview, and it's this moment that I have not allowed myself to be distracted, but just continue to share and hit like and love and comment as you may, and I'll respond after the show is over because we're moving right along. Matthew, thank you for sharing that with us. And
you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
So getting back to your story, so now you're a pastor. You're doing a lot of work with youth. Yeah. And by the way, happy pre-birthday. I want to be one of the first to say that Matthew is turning 32 in 2 weeks, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
And so you're still a baby to probably some people in our community that are on the broadcast. And happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So tell me a little bit about, now you're a pastor and you're doing work with the youth, and what was that like, and how did you go from there to here? And oh, by the way, now that I know that you have some culinary skills, we may have to have a competition because
okay,
you must
Jay,
be.
I don't know if you want to see.
Huh?
Okay, Jay. You sure you want to see me? You sure you want to be in the kitchen?
Well, one night I'm up for that. I don't know how healthy you can cook, but that may be a challenge. I don't know if you know what type of dishes you do, but I'll be willing to cheat if I need to for one evening.
I can cook healthy for you, and it still be good.
All right. So go ahead and share a little bit more about what unfolded for you once you got out of school, and now you're in it. You're a pastor and you're doing your thing. What was that like?
It was an interesting transition being actually a pastor, because it wasn't what I thought it was. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought, because I can only see the guy behind the podium speaking all the time, preaching all the time. So the behind the scenes was definitely an eye opener for me. Like any organization, there's politics. Like any organization, there's people you're not gonna like, people that you like more than others. And so I got to see all of that. But one of the big things that was huge for me there was that I learned about people. I learned how to love people. I learned how to meet people where they were at and not have a self-righteous attitude towards them because they didn't do what I did or did it how I did it. And so that was a very interesting transition. And I learned a lot about myself. I didn't realize how arrogant and prideful and selfish I was, because I was a child prodigy. I was one of these. No one sang in my family. No one did music. My dad did music in high school, but he never pursued it as a career or anything. So, it was what it was. But like nobody was doing music, and I just come out of the backside of the desert singing and doing this stuff. And so, so especially in Kansas City, I was traveling to a lot of churches, and I was traveling to a lot of events, singing and speaking, and everyone's amazed. And that gets to your head when it's unchecked as a teenager,
So I'm hearing some ego and pride somehow snuck in.
Oh, it definitely did, and it wasn't until about 2000 and 2007 that I really had a breaking point where I realized that, whoa, Matthew, you're selfish, you're arrogant, you're full of yourself, you're you you're just you feel like nobody can do it like you can, and that's okay to have that mentality. Like, I am good, I am the best version of myself. However, it's wrong when you say that it's not going to work because can't nobody do it better than you. So that right there is where the twist was. Like, well, they can do the choir, but it's not going to sound as good as it would be if I was directing the choir. So that's kind of what happened. And because of that, I ended up taking a downward spiral in just a lot of areas in my life. I ended up moving to New York. I pastored there in New York, but in the process, I ended up being homeless, living in a shelter for like 6 months, and it was really humbling. And it was in the moment, it seemed like it was some colossal joke that God was playing on me. Like, okay, so you gonna send me to New York and then not give me a place to stay? But even in the midst of all of that, there was a lesson in it, and I'm where I'm at today. So you obviously didn't forsake me and leave me, obviously. But there was a lesson in that, and I learned very quickly that you need to pass your test and learn the lesson, so you don't continue to go through the same thing over and over and over again. So that's what I
There's some
learned.
wisdom right there, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pass the test.
we're gonna keep getting smacked over the head until we learn what we got to learn, and until we learn
Yeah,
it, it's gonna keep happening. It may show up in a different way,
yeah.
right? But it's still gonna show. But what happens when we have that awakening, that awareness? It changes everything, right?
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
changes
It,
everything. Once we
it
have
was.
that awareness that we needed to go through this to get there.
It's like the light bulb that you see in the cartoon, and they go ding. It really is like that. When your eyes open, like you walking in a room, eyes wide shut, you don't know, and you just fumbling over everything, and you just knocking stuff over and everything. And then once the lights turn on, and you're like, oh, I kept hitting that chair, or I kept hitting that thing, and all I had to do was move it out of the way, or all I had to. And sometimes it's not as easy as that, and sometimes it takes a little more work. But some of these things is that there's just certain people that you don't need to be around. There's certain you need to change the route of the way home. You need to stop driving by the bar. You need to stop driving around by that certain place that triggers those addictions or triggers those things. And it sounds like I'm saying it is like it's easier than that, but it's both and. Like, you got to do the internal fight, but then you got to do the practical practices that I'm not going there no more. I'm not driving that way. I'll take the extra 15-minute route outside of the town to get to where I'm trying to go, because my freedom and my awakening is more important than me feeling good right now. So,
Amen. Wow. And how did you figure all that out? I mean, what you just shared now is just, it's so profound. And so many people never quite get there. They just stay in that survival mentality and that place of ego and pride and arrogance, thinking that if they just achieve their dream, if they just achieve and go for the chase
mhm.
along the way, that they'll be okay.
Yeah,
Somehow you figured out that there's more to this gig than just showing up with that inflated head.
right. Um, I learned really quick. I learned really quick that the way up was down, and that's one thing that uh, Jesus teaches about us being servants to others, to servants to men. He washes his disciples' feet. And he's like, wait a minute, you came to save the world and you're washing feet? What is wrong with you? Like, so, and that's where I learned, like, wait a minute, if you want to be great, then you need to be the servant of men. You need to put your pride and your ego down. Like, learn how to sweep the floor and and bust some tables. Like learn that part of life, and that is for me has been a great thing that has happened. Because I like even when I go to I go to places and sing, and this is no brag on myself, but I know that I know I can sing, and I know I can perform, and I know I can play. I know that those I'm talented, so I got that. So when I go to a place, like if I have a show August 3rd in Lucky Strike. That was actually a shameless plug. At 11 o'clock, please come.
It's in Los Angeles?
It's in Hollywood, yes.
And what time are you going to be on?
I always tell people 10:30. I start at 10:30, so
Okay.
so make sure they're there. They don't miss anything. But I would go into Lucky Strike, and I will find the sound guy, and I'll ask them, even though I'm about to sing. People hear my name's on the flyer. I'll go in there and I'll ask them, and is there anything I can help them with? And they're like, what? Wait a minute. Yeah. And it's not that I'm trying to, yeah. And it's not, I'm not trying to put myself out there like, make a name for myself. No, I really mean it. Like, what can I do to help? Because, the fact that I'm able to get up and sing and do that, and then I get paid and I, afford a certain lifestyle, is because of the people who are there. I'm able to do what I'm doing because they can hear me, and I need to be nice to the sound man. But also, he's been there all day getting yelled at, and if something goes wrong, everybody's gonna be like yelling at him. So I want to make sure that I'm not the person yelling, and I'm the person that he's like, well, at least you were easy, right? And I do that anywhere.
What I'm hearing you say is something I was just talking about. I think it was earlier today or yesterday. I said, we live in two spaces. We're either living in hate or we live in love. Mm-hmm. And what you're describing is you're choosing today to live in love. And part of living in love is it's just coming from a kind, gentle, caring place. And when we show up that way, we give it away and then we get it back. Yeah. But we also, if we show up with hate and anger and resentment and blame and all of those hurtful emotions, we also get it back. We give it away and we think we're giving it away, but it comes right back.
Oh, what's it for us? We always reap. One thing I learned too, very, very, very soon and early in my life, is that you always reap more than you sow, later than you sow. And that is so true. You will always reap more than you sow and later than you sow. So you can continue to sow those terrible seeds and being rude and nasty to the lady at the Dollar Tree, and nasty and ugly to people at the at the airport, and because you had a long flight and you got a long flight ahead, and traffic was terrible at the LAX, and it was just the world is against you, and so you're nasty to the woman at the ticket counter, nasty to keep on that, and then you wonder why you go to Starbucks and they don't get your order right, and you go to McDonald's. Well, everybody no matter how nice you are, they mess your order up at McDonald's, so it doesn't matter. But you know what I'm saying. I do.
So, God, what we're going to do, Matthew, is I'm going to allow tonight the show to go over because we kind of got a late start because of the audio challenges at the beginning. So if that's okay with you, if you could give me an extra 10, 12 minutes, I go a little bit over. I'd love to keep it going here. So here you are. You're doing what you're doing. You figure out that you have a voice and you're utilizing it probably in part of your business of being a pastor. At what point did you decide, and why did you decide to exit out of the pastor business? I think I heard what you said earlier, but for those that may not have been on a show that have jumped on late, I'd like you to share why you exited out of pastorhood and went, I believe, full head on committed into the music business.
For starters, no matter how long I've been being pastor for a long time, singing had always been a passion. Writing music had always been a passion. And I didn't understand until quite recently that music is more. I am complete when I write a song or I sing a song. I'm complete. when I was teaching and when I was traveling, I traveled all over the country doing conferences and church services and all those things. I wasn't really. I've always felt like I needed to do it again to be satisfied. And I can write a song and be done with it and be complete. And there it is. And every time I hear the song, I'm like, I'm complete. I got a management deal, and my manager, he asked me, he said, I think you should move to LA. It's great opportunities, shows, things like that. You can build your career network. And I was like, I struggled. But my wife is, if she's my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. And my wife said, baby, wherever you go, whatever you think that we're supposed to do, I'll follow you, even if it's in a cardboard box. I'm saying this out loud so she know that even if we end up in a cardboard box.
I'm dancing. Matthew, right. I am dancing in my chair because you just hit on one of my bullet points I wanted to ask you about is, so what is it like? You know, you're married and here you have been following your passion, following your heart, following your soul, and you've got someone along your side. Now, whether they're in front of you, along your side, or behind you, their position is going to affect and impact what you're doing or what you're trying to do. And if you don't have a partner that is 100% in your corner, supporting you and holding you up when you feel weak or when you feel vulnerable, and being there for you when you're feeling great. Either way, it's a beautiful. I think it's the only way that we can have success and whatever our dreams are is to have a partner that is there with you.
100%. When we first got married, before we got married, we was doing our premarital counseling, and the people who did our counseling, he said, "Oh, that's the clock dinging." The people who did our counseling, they said to us, they said, Matthew, if you make your wife feel like she's number one, she will push you out the door to do your dreams. And so, even though it's hard for me to express emotion, like I'm emotional when I'm emotional. I'm an emotional person, but I'm not a touchy-feely person at times. So sometimes I don't know how to articulate, you know, I love you so much and you're the best thing and the most amazing thing. Like, because especially with guys, like I just told you that like 2 weeks ago, I need to continue to tell you every 5 minutes that you're the most amazing person in the world, you know, and then you get that you get that in your mind. But I do everything in my power to make sure my wife knows that she's number one. Because I can't, when I was working a full-time job and going to the studio, there was days that I would only see her at 3 o'clock in the morning when she's leaving, and not see her till 1 o'clock the next morning when I'm coming in from the studio and giving her a kiss and tired, having to wake back up. And she may not like it, but she knows that I'm doing everything I can to get us a lifestyle, to get us to a place so we can live in a place and have a lifestyle for our kids and our grandkids, so that we can have something for them. So you have to be with somebody who can see the bigger picture, even when it's hard to see the bigger picture. Even when you don't know the bigger picture, you're like, oh God, I hope I'm making the right decisions. But they still support you and like, well, we're going to this cardboard box together. Let's go.
You know, I think what's behind that, Matthew, is that when you have a partner that believes in you, like in there from soul to soul, and you have that connection, there is nothing that you can't achieve.
True.
You know, together, it's just a powerhouse. And it sounds like you've got that partner. And so I got another question for you, because
okay.
I've stalked you on YouTube to hear more of your music. And we're going to end the show with, I'll play out one of your shows you did. But long before we go there, I noticed a lot of your songs are love songs. they're about
Yeah.
broken hearts and things of that nature. And what surprises me, well, two things. One is that you didn't go into the business of Christian music, that you didn't become a Christian songwriter and performer. So that's my first question, why not? And then my second is not a question, but it's more of a comment. You shared that at times you tend to not necessarily share and express continuously or consistently how you feel about Alicia. Have you written her a song? And if you haven't, maybe that's a way to, and I'm not sure, I'm not telling you something you haven't thought about or you haven't done, but maybe just keep writing her more songs, and maybe the more songs you write to her expressing how you feel are going to all be hits. And then you guys can
Right.
run off into the sunset and both be satisfied and both have your needs being met. So you're going to meet her
Right.
needs by singing her your love ballads every night. And
Right.
and vice versa. So I don't know. I'm just putting
Well,
that out there. I'm a solution-driven
she'll have
guy.
them on her iPhone. She'll have the song. I'll write her a bunch of songs. She'll have on her iPhone, and then she could just say, "She's like, you haven't told me you love me. Play number 5. Play track 5." No, when I proposed to my wife, I wrote her a song, and then when she walked down the aisle at the wedding, I wrote her a song I sang her a song that I wrote as she walked down the aisle. And then for Valentine's Day.
Stop right there. All right. This is totally spontaneous, but you just put it out there. So now you got to perform one of those two songs.
Oh,
right now. Which one are you going to?
Oh no, that was so long ago. I don't remember those songs.
Can you hum? Can you hum a ballad? Can you just give us a little sense of what the melody was?
Oh my God, I think it was. I think it was like. It's like, can it be you and me together forever? I think that was the engagement song. Can it be you and me together forever? I'm a better songwriter now than I was when I wrote that song.
Thank you for putting that out there. So why not Christian music? Why did you choose to go into this side of the business rather than that side?
Well, I had done Christian music, the gospel scene, not as a gospel artist, but just I'd been in that scene, and I was like, it is what it is. But honestly, I wanted to make music. I'm a Christian, and I love Luther Vandross, and I love Teddy Pendergrass, and I love James Brown, and I love love, and I think Christians have heartbreak. Christians have we have sex. We all of those things. And so I felt like I'm gonna sing. I'm married. I can sing about sex. I can sing about heartbreak. I can sing about love. I can sing about depression. I can sing about all these things because we all go through it. I just happen to be a Christian. So that was my thing. And I just kind of prefer this over that. I love soul music. I love it. And that is my goal. My goal, this is my why I do what I do. My why, what I do is when you listen to 3 minutes and 50 seconds of my song, or you come to a concert, a Matthew Grant concert, for the time that the duration of that concert and the duration of that song, I want you to experience authentic emotions. Authentic, even if it's just for the 3 minutes and 20 seconds the song is playing, that in that 3 minutes that you were able to experience something authentic, something that touched your soul, that was like, wow, I understand that. Dang, I got the feels. Oh man, good vibes only. Whatever you say, whatever phrase you use to express how the music makes you feel. That is what I want you to feel when you hear and you sing a song. It could be happy birthday, but I want to make sure that when you hear happy birthday, that you feel it. And so I make it my job to be in the community, to hear people's stories, to listen to their heartbreak, so I can write songs, not about my heartbreak, but about other people's heartbreak, other people's love, other people's achievements. So now it's everybody's music and not just me. So that's why I do what I do.
Beautiful. So in this moment, what are you feeling? What are you feeling if for you to play a second live song for us here? That's just gonna take us to a place we haven't been today.
Well, we've been talking about love, so I play a love song. How about that? Is that okay?
I'd love that. Thank you.
It's a love song that I wrote. I'll take my headphones out here. All right. It's called Love's Design. Take what I can, stand where I won't. Help me believe in the things that I don't. Paint me with grace, shade with your light. Where there was space, now your colors define. You're the perfect point of view, and all the things you do. If I'm a fighter or a fool, I'm holding tightly to you. No one quite like you, 'cause you stay when I push you away and say that it's alright. That's the way that love's designed. A storm has its rage, an ocean its calm. When winds are a-changing, I'm right where you are. When highs come with lows, we're stronger 'cause it's true. I had to lead you home, a heart that covers you. Oh, all I want is you, only you. You're the one that I choose to say that you're all mine. That's the way that love's designed. Even down a long road, fight until it's done. Steady like a shadow, never be alone. Let me be the lead you follow. Always and on time. The perfect peace inside your mind. I'll make it all right. 'Cause that's the way that love's designed. That's love's design.
Wow. Ooh, thank you so much for that song. It was beautiful. And we're almost out of time, but I do have one last question for you.
Okay.
And it's the real tough question, but I know you've got the answer because you've gone through it, you've walked through it. The question is how have you crushed your fears? Because you are a human, you are a being, and you've got feelings, you've got emotions, you've got ego, you've got pride, you've got esteem, and you've got a story, you've got a history, you've got beliefs that you were raised in, and all the layers of experiences that you went through in life to graduate to adulthood, and then but going through all that and then going from where you were to where you are, how have you navigated all of the places you have gone and come to get to where you are today by crushing fear? Because there's no way that you could be that fearless where you just do it.
It's true. Well, it for me, I think, and I think I told you earlier when we were just talking, me and you were talking, the biggest thing for me was realizing that not getting caught up in the details, just honestly just realizing, like, listen, I can be trying to do so much, or I can just be. And that's kind of what I have a dream, I have a goal, and I need to just be. And I think my biggest, how I crushed fear was, it's like the first time I ever sang in front of 10,000 people. That was my big, like, you about to go out here and sing. And I was like, it's either going to be terrible and I never do it again, or it's going to be great and they're going to say, hey, can you come back? So it's just got to do it. You just got to do it and be in the moment. Be in the moment. Just live in that moment. We're so busy. We're so busy. Even now, like when people go to concerts, the first thing they do is they pull out their phone and they record the concert.
Wait a minute. I did that with you. Be careful now.
But I'm just saying.
I'm guilty. I do that all the time.
And it's great. I'm guilty of it too. I record the concerts all the time. But I think about, sometimes we miss so much because we're recording it and not being in the moment. And it's no slight, because I'm like literally guilty of it. However, remember when we didn't have cell phones and we had to go to the park and listen to the music, and the experience was just like, and then you go back and say, oh my gosh, I saw Eagles play Hotel California, and it was incredible. And you explaining it, and you're explaining your feelings and your emotions. And now, instead of just saying, oh, I went and watched the Eagles sing it, look. You see what I'm saying? So I use that as an example to say, be in the moment, live in the moment, live in that moment, experience that moment, feel that moment. Boom. That's how I.
Okay, so I'm going to paraphrase, because I'm going to say it a little differently than you, but this is what I heard you say. When we stay in thought and thinking, and when we do an ad about the things that we're potentially fearful of, like making a career change, or what do we want to go to school for? We're going to go for culinary, or we're going to go to become a pastor, and all these decisions that you navigated through. What you learn somehow, some way, is that if you just quiet your thoughts down enough, the answers will come to you.
Get out of your own way.
From within yourself. And within yourself is what I refer to as your soul and God. And instead of worrying about it and living in fear of all the, well, what ifs, what if it doesn't work out? What if this happens? Playing out all the bad things that could happen. It sounds like what you do is you turn it over in your faith, and you invite God to the party. Yeah. And because God's part of your decision-making process, it works out. You don't have to worry about it, because, even when you went homeless for 6 months in New York, you still came out of that. And you came out of that stronger. You came out of that with more humility. I recall hearing you say that. And that's the gift, and you have, at a young age of 32 and 2, figured that out, that we just got to quiet our minds down, and our answers are already here. We got to be quiet enough to listen for the answer. And it's right within.
Get out of your own way. Get out of your own way.
Yeah. Well, Matthew, we are really at that point where I have to say, I am so grateful and so thankful that you joined us tonight. I have so much enjoyed the show, getting to know you better. I only really knew you as a talented musician, someone who I was attracted to enough to come and see you a number of times. If you are in the Los Angeles area, you could find Matthew and a lot of other talented musicians. He's part of this artist group called Flight of Voices, and they play a lot of unique venues. And you can find out about them through Airbnb Experience if you just do a search for Flight of Voices. Is there anything else you want to share about Flight of Voices?
It's incredible. It's amazing, and if you're in Los Angeles, you need to go to the show. They have a show next Saturday at the Village Studios in Santa Monica. Go. I won't be there. They have a show tomorrow in Malibu.
At the winery?
Wines.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a beautiful show. I've been to the Village. I saw you perform at the Village as well. The winery was an amazing event. Putting Flight of Voices to the side, if any of our community want to see you live, you also perform outside. And the best way to find out where your shows are just to follow you through Facebook. Is that right?
Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is, I spend a lot more time on Instagram than Facebook. So
how
Instagram,
can you find you on Instagram?
My Instagram is I am Matthew Grant. That is my Instagram title. And my next show is August 3rd at 10:30 at Lucky Strike Hollywood. But the information is there. And maybe that Lucky Strike in Hollywood. So follow me on Instagram or on my Facebook, on my personal Facebook. I mean on my fan page. It's Matthew Grant music page, and all the information will be there about the shows and things like that. I hope to see y'all there. It's gonna be incredible.
I hope you had as much fun as I did, and I want to thank the people that joined us on the live tonight. I know that we're gonna have this on replay, and so if you missed the live, it's okay. If you're catching us on a replay, thank you for joining us this evening. Matthew, have a beautiful weekend, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have us end the show by playing one of your shows that you did. I think it's a couple of years ago. But I'm going to put it up on screen, and when you need to drop off, just go ahead and do so. Thank you so much for joining us. I love you. I love your music, and keep singing through your soul. You have so much to teach all of us, and just keep doing what you're doing. And we'll catch you on the next show, Matthew.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Jay. Thank you so much.
And we're going to go live now on this.
Uh-oh. Oh,
Who's this girl? What's her name? Don't know where she's from, but I'm glad she came. She stole my heart with just one glance. She put me in a trance. Oh, it's like a drug. She's in my veins. I'm going crazy, but she cannot retain. Kryptonite, but just my type. A killer for sure. Fading fast. When will this pass? She casts a spell on me. Yeah. She's a killer. She steals your heart and soul. You can't resist. I hope the right one is next in line. Oh, I hope you can forgive me for not being all that you need. That's all I wanted to be. That's all I wanted to be. Oh, now I'm leaving with a broken heart. I hope someday someone can mend this part. For me, for me. I guess I wasn't good enough. Really didn't measure up. Sorry if I wasted your time. I hope the right one is next in line. I wish I was strong enough, 'cause you wouldn't be giving up. I'm sorry, oh, for wasting your time. I hope the right one is next in line. He's lost. Yeah. He's lost in the wilderness. It's a man's world. It's a man's world. It's a man's world. Ooh, it's a man's world. Yeah. It's a man's world, y'all. It's a man's world. Oh, what would be nothing. No. Without a woman or a girl. Yeah. It's a man's world.
That's our show for this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. And we'll see you next week live on Real Men, Real Talk, Raw. Next Friday night, we will have a special guest, and we'll announce it sometime next week once we get it all lined up. Have a beautiful weekend. Whatever you do this weekend, take time to do something for you. Take time to do some self-care, because this is what I know. When I do self-care, I have more love to give. So just keep doing it. Have a beautiful weekend. Thanks for joining the show tonight. Take care, all.